let your kids watch it.
Jesus Christ. Don't scare me like that. Jeez, I've already had enough traumatic things happen to me in the past. Not that you would care. But, do you want to know what happened to me? No, you couldn't handle it. It's too crazy. But I'm going to tell you anyway. Because I like those videos, the childhood trauma videos. I like to thank yourmoviesucks.org for starting it. It's a great genre. You all can share in my pain. Go ahead and laugh at me. I cry alone at night. So here's my, not in any order, top traumatic childhood movies and games that scared me as a child. I don't care. So the first thing I'll go ahead and talk about in this video is just things that more or less irked me as a kid, and there's one scene in particular that really kind of messed me up as a kid. I was about 8 when I saw it. It was in Blade, which oddly enough was one of my favorite action movies growing up. The movie may not have aged well, but for being an older comic book movie, it's a really fun ride. It's kind of like the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire. It's cheesy, it's got good action, and has a really kick-ass soundtrack. So you might be asking yourself, how? How did your favorite action movie growing up scare you? Well, I'm glad you asked, because we're going to go over that scene right now. So it was the scene where this guy transforms into that guy. Now, I wouldn't blame you if you don't remember this character. He's really minor and does not give anything to the plot, but a basic summary of his character would be that Karen, the main character, well, that was her ex that she works with in the hospital. And when they operate on that vampire, he gets bit and becomes a ghoul, zombie, vampire. I don't know what the hell he was. The only reason the scene really irked me as a kid was because Karen gets captured and thrown into a pit where he resides in, and the color palette changes to like a dark, weird blue, and it was really off-putting. But his voice changes and it just sounds really off-putting, and he starts running at her like Freddy Krueger going, Karen, Karen, and really upset me as a kid. I can't even explain it really. I'm sorry I couldn't really get the video. It didn't want to import into my project, so I guess you could say it wasn't up for the cut. So the next thing I'll talk about is a game that scared me when I was a kid. I was about 8 as well. When I was 8, it was a fun time. The game I'm talking about is Shadow Man. It's for PlayStation 1, N64, and PC. It was definitely a different time growing up with the new rating system. I mean, it just come out around 93, 92-ish. And this was around 97, I want to say, 98. So it was still kind of a few years old. So my parents and grandparents would just always buy me rated M games. I mean, I grew up with Quake and Biofreaks, which not necessarily scary, but they definitely have moments that sit with you for a while. I guess my grandparents and my parents thought, oh, it's got M on the package. It must mean magnificently not scary for kids. I'll take 20. And at the end of the day, they're not really scary. It's just all dumb fun. So how did this game really affect me when I was a kid? Well, Shadow Man has really great aesthetics, like a good setting, really cool music, haunting atmosphere. I mean, atmosphere and setting are kind of the same thing. The controls, not so much. So really, out of every monster I encountered in this game, which one scared me the most? This guy. Well, for starters, he runs at you like Freddy Krueger. Oddly enough, I've already mentioned Freddy Krueger twice, and he's not on this list. That run kind of scared me, but it's not really a mention because it didn't really, affect me that much. It just kind of, creeps me out when people run like that. It's really off-putting and weird. The reason I put this guy on the list is because it has a special place for me, because I always will remember the first time I encountered him. I was heading towards a dark cave, and the music and all sound went silent. All I heard was my footsteps. The further I walked into the cave, I heard a loud screeching yelling at me. As soon as I looked up, that thing started running at me, with its arms barreling, and it was running, and I was scared. And the controls didn't help. I was trying to back up and shoot it, and I got killed. That scared the crap out of me, and I didn't play that game for about 2-3 years. I played it recently, and it's not bad, it's just the controls are really hard to get around, but as a kid, that definitely stuck with me for the longest time. Ah, House, a movie I'm willing to bet no one has ever really seen ever. This movie didn't even really scare me as a kid. It's just one scene, again, in particular. It's always just one thing that always off-put me. Now don't worry, later in the video we're gonna talk about two things that really stuck with me for the longest time. But as for right now, it's just scenes even today I kinda get a little about. I can't really tell you why I loved this movie so much as a kid. I mean, even today, the monster effects still kind of hold up in this movie. It's not even really that scary of a movie at all because you get scenes like this. And this. And this. If you're interested in seeing it, I highly recommend it. It's one of those enjoyably bad movies from the 80s. Just so bad it's good. Definitely not the Room quality, but it's definitely somewhere on that spectrum. I'll cut around it so I don't give too much away, and I won't really go into the plot of this movie because it's just kind of a confusing movie to give the plot to. But I will show you the one scene that freaked me out, and it's this one.
Sandy.
Like, holy hell, what the hell is that? Maybe one day I'll review it. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to review it. Also, if you're interested, there is a really bad sequel to this movie. And it also has the fat guy from Cheers. Take that as you will, I'm just telling you. Now we're going to go to one that stuck with me for a while, and I actually ended up watching for this video, so you guys should be thankful because I wasn't going to go back and watch it until now. Mystery Men came out in a time when we got a lot of cheesy superhero movies. I mean a lot. Like 97 and 98 and 99. Those were some crazy comic book times. It has some of those comic book shining moments, and it's got a lot of funny parts too, but there's a lot of plot holes anyway. But that's beside the point, and I'm not going to review it yet. Probably not. I mean, you guys could comment in the section if you want. I don't care. I could review it. Just saying. So this isn't a review video. This is more like a retrospect of things that disturbed me as a kid. So I'll just get to the point that really disturbed me about this movie. It was the scene when they captured Captain Amazing and tied him up to that chair. And then the superheroes come in to rescue him, but they hit a switch and it ends up killing him. But it fries him and morphs his face and body. Going back and thinking about it, when I would watch this film a few years back, I would always look away when this scene would come on. Luckily for all you, like I said, I ended up watching it. It's not as bad since the effects didn't age well, but my stomach still kinda turned. Okay, next up is The Brave Little Toaster. I mean, really, what is there to say about this movie? If you've seen it, you already know exactly what scene I'm gonna show. This whole movie, in fact, is one of the scariest movies for kids. How is this a kid's film? I want to know. I want answers. I actually met up with one of the people that worked on this film, and I can tell you, I got no clarification as to why this was a kid's film. All I got is, I just worked on the smoke effects. That was it! I didn't get any clarification as to why this was released for kids. I just want to know. That's all. As depressing as the movie can get with that flower scene, and downright scary with like that air conditioning scene, there's one scene in particular that will always stick out, especially to me and my sister. It's something that still kind of stays with us even to this day. I'm pretty sure it stays with a lot of you guys that have seen this movie. But it just leaves you with the question,
Why? Yeah. Why?
So now I'm going to talk about Exorcist. Yeah, because I watched this when I was 8 as well. Like I said, being 8 was a magical time in my life. My mom was like, "It's fine, Aaron, you'll enjoy it. You love scary movies, right?" I should have just said no that night. Now, this whole movie did scare me a lot, but the only real thing that stuck with me and I couldn't even sleep for the whole night after watching it was the demon Pazuzu. Now, if you don't remember who Pazuzu was, it was this asshole. I couldn't sleep a whole night because of him. The scariest thing about The Exorcist was it was about a little girl around the same age I was being possessed by demons, being trapped inside your own body, not being able to escape. That's one scary idea, and I do not like that. I guess the reason this scared me the most was because the face was surrounded by nothing but darkness and the face was highlighted. So, yeah, pretty scary. Not to mention that whole movie didn't help. Yeah. Have sweet dreams. I'm gonna leave this up on the screen for a while. Good night. So now we come to the final movie that scared me for the longest time. And don't act like you didn't see this coming, especially because I put it in the intro of the video. Foreshadowing? It holds a very special place in the cockles of my heart because I'll always remember the first time I watched this movie in great detail. So let's go back to the magical year of 1999. It was a summer. Shut up, I'm setting the mood for you. It was a summer afternoon. I was 8 years old and I just got the worst sunburn of my life. After coming back from the doctor's office, I went home and I remember Edda and Eddie was on the TV. This has relevance to the story, okay? I love Edda and Eddie. It's my favorite cartoon. It was the first year it came out, you know. One of the traditions we had at my family's house is every Friday night, which it happened to be a Friday night, we would go to Blockbuster. I bet no one listening to this even remembers Blockbuster. We would go to Blockbuster and rent up to about 2 to 3 films and watch them as a family. Of course, my family didn't want me to rent it, but my stepbrother and my sister rented it for me anyway because I wanted to watch it. So I guess this was kind of my fault. Of course, you can't watch a scary movie during the day. Oh, no, no, no. That does not work at all. You have to watch it late at night, at midnight, at the stroke of midnight, in darkness. I mean, completely pitch black, void of life, voided of everything. You have to watch it there and then. Now, before starting it, I was getting really excited because I'd already seen movies like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Dr. Giggles, which I bet is another movie no one has ever seen in the history of ever, Hellraiser, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and also Halloween. And that's just scratching the surface. I didn't even go deep into how many obscure horror films I used to watch as a kid. But boy, how wrong I was. Now, obviously, it doesn't need much introduction. You all know it. If you've seen it, you know exactly how it would have traumatized an 8-year-old boy's mind like mine. The fact that it's a monster dressed up as a clown that taunts you and laughs at you to scare you and then eat you. Really, there's nothing more to be said. That's pretty much why I was so scared of it. Because majority of the movie was kids being chased by a clown. A killer clown that could change into anything you feared. Of course I was terrified. The scariest part to me was the old lady's house because it was finally a part in the movie that you got peace from. You didn't think anything would go wrong until she started drinking from the teacup and you're like, ah, shit, here we go again. Being a small child, you have an active imagination, so obviously trying to get to sleep that night was not a possibility. Now, I'll try to give you a visual. I can't really do much, but the way my room was set up is I had a giant window looking out and there was wooded area outside of my window. Just a little FYI, I to this day do not like wooded areas at night. They creep me out. I can walk past them, but I would rather drive past them because I feel safer in a car. My bedroom was also across from the bathroom, which the door was broken at the time, so it was completely open, and so was my front door of my room, so I was facing into the bathroom. Now, when you're a kid, things go around, and we used to talk about Bloody Mary and Candyman and stuff like that, so that didn't help either, getting to look into my bathroom. Now, there's a window outside of my bathroom as well, but the glass had some kind of padding on it, so you couldn't see outside and nobody could see in, but you could see shadows of like trees blowing by or bushes. So I got to see that. So trying to sleep at night, all I could envision was a clown walking into my room or climbing on my bed trying to eat me. So the only thing that kept me up at night was an episode of Scooby-Doo on loop on Cartoon Network. So it was thanks to Scooby-Doo I was able to get through the night. I guess that wraps this mystery up. I don't have any Scooby-Doo puns for this video. I'm sorry. You can't scare me anymore. I grew up. That was like in the last part of the video I told you I grew up. Not a kid anymore. But I want to thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe. I'm not selling out or anything. But seriously, if you like the video, let me know in the comments if you want me to do more top 10 reviews or reviews of anything. I greatly appreciate it. And I really need that feedback because no one ever gets back to me.